Hey credit man, hey credit man, hey credit man, hey credit man, credit man, hey credit man.
I'm Dwayne the Credit Man. This is another episode of Credit Talk. Y'all know I like to go live every single week to discuss a different credit related topic. This week we're going to be talking 5 things that business owners don't tell you about. I figure people will want to know this because, I've been running a business for years. Running a business is hard work. And I run multiple businesses. So that's what the topic is going to be. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. Y'all know who I am. I'm Dwayne the Credit Man. I'm the owner of Reed Financial Solutions, which is a credit repair company. I'm also part owner of Reed Tax and Business Services, which is our tax company. I'm also part owner of SA Properties, which is our real estate company. I hope you guys checked out our landlord class. The class has been doing pretty good. I'm actually surprised how many people signed up. A shout out to them for signing up and helping me out. For those that don't know, I launched my landlord class. If you want to learn how to be a landlord, if you learn how to be a better tenant, you can take this landlord class. It's only $100. I'm actually going to raise the price in a few. But the people that signed up now for that low price, their job is to go through the class, see what they like, see what they don't like, see if there's any bugs, anything like that, and then wrap the class up and let me know how it go. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I do. I'm also part owner of Reed Exotics too, which is a exotic car rental business that we have, which I'm really not doing right now, but it is what it is. And I'm also I'm also an author of my best-selling book, Understanding Credit by Dwayne the Credit Man. You can grab your copy on Amazon. It was #1 on Amazon's hottest new releases for a month, and it got as high as #8 on their top 1,000 or whatever, or 100 books. So it's a pretty good book. You know what I mean? But I hope everybody's having a good day. And let me know where y'all watching from. Yeah, today was crazy busy, man. I was running like crazy today. Lala Banks, what up? Appreciate you for watching. But let's get into it, man. So like I was saying, oh yeah, hit that share button. Let people know we live. Y'all know we here every single Wednesday to discuss a different credit-related topic. So this week we're going to be talking about 5 things that business owners don't tell you about, or 5 things business owners didn't know. And I've been in business since 2005. I've actually been in business since in high school. I've been an entrepreneur since I was probably 16 years old. So this has always been in my blood. But we're going to get into it. So first things first. The first thing, when you want to start a business, the first thing you need to understand is your legal structure, right? Your legal and your structure. What is that? That's, when people tell you to get an LLC. When should you get an LLC? If you have a business that you plan on making money on, what I did was I started my business first, made a couple dollars, see if I actually liked it, and then I went and registered the business. Now, you can't do that with every business. You can only do that with certain like services and stuff like that, because they want you to start that LLC day one. But here's why I didn't start my LLC day one, right? I didn't want to go pay all this money for LLC, tax ID, all this stuff, and then run a business and got to pay all these fees, and I'm not making no money, right? So I kind of build up my clientele, build up my name around the area and stuff like that before I even thought about an LLC. And then when I got my LLC. Now, when I did mine, it was just me by myself, so I didn't need to have I didn't have no partners, I didn't need no contracts, no stuff like that. But here's the thing. When you are starting a business and you have partners, you got to make sure you have those contracts in place, right? Now, what are the contracts? Contracts is pretty much saying, hey, I own 50% of the business, you own 50% of the business. I'm responsible for A, B, C. You're responsible for 1, 2, 3, right? So you kind of break everything down in this contract so that way there's no confusion. I've had a lot of clients come to me over the years and they started businesses with partners and the partners ain't doing no work, but was still getting paid. They had to shut the business down or had to buy their partner out of the business because the business started being successful, but it was all successful off one person and it wasn't the partner, right? I remember my guy, he had a medical business that was doing great, but the partner wasn't doing nothing, but every week he was collecting that check. He had to buy the partner out. So you got to make sure you have those stipulations in that contract that says, look, I'm responsible for this, you're responsible for this. If you're not doing this, you have to turn the company over, or you have to, turn over your percentage to me, or you got to give me a certain amount of percentage so that way you can get full operations of the business where they don't have no say at all because they're not doing anything, right? So make sure you have those contracts in place, man. What? What's that? Oh, another thing you want to make sure, and I know a lot of people don't know about this one, is you want to make sure when you do start your business, you keep your business and your personal separate. Now, here's why, right? An LLC is here to protect your business, right? So if somebody sues you, they can only sue your business. The LLC is like that wall between your business and your personal assets, right? But if you're using your personal assets to run your business and someone sues you, they can take you to court and they can say, hey, this person uses their personal credit cards. They use their personal bank account. They use all this personal stuff to run this business, And the court might say, well, your personal assets are now on the table. So if you get sued, they can take your house. They can take your car. They can garnish money out of you. They can levy your bank accounts on your personal side because you set the LLC up, but you were still mixing business and personal. What you want to do, I believe it's called breaking the corporate veil, I think it's called. I think that's what the term that they use. So you want to make sure that when you do get your LLC and tax ID, you open that business bank account and you do all your transactions through that business bank account. Do not use your personal credit cards. Do not use your personal bank account. Don't use your personal savings, nothing. Keep that money, keep all those transactions on the business side. So if you do get sued, all they have access to is what's in the business. They don't have access to none of your personal stuff. Because ain't nothing like you've been in business 20 years and somebody come and sue you for something stupid and they get this big old judgment. Guess what? Your business can't cover it. They're going to lean over to your personal. They can take your house, your car, any assets you might have. They can snatch that from you to pay off that debt. So make sure you keep everything, your business and your personal, separate. Thank me later. Let's see. Hold on. Am I frozen? All right, cool. Thought I was frozen for a second. Internet been a little chippy all day today. Well, let's keep this thing going. So that's number one. Number two, understand when you're starting a business, you're gonna wear all hats. Now, what does that mean? You're gonna clean the bathroom, and you're gonna close that big deal that's gonna get your business to the next level. You're gonna do everything in between. When I started my business, I did everything by myself. I brought the clients in. I took their information. I took their payments. I tracked their payments. I did the disputes myself. I mailed everything off. I went to the post office myself and dropped stuff in the mailbox. As stuff came back, the clients reached out to me directly. I got the results back, sat on the phone, set up consultations with clients, called them. Hey, blah, blah, blah. This is what we got to do moving forward. Made their payment. They said, hey, I'll call you back Friday. I called them back on Friday. Hey, did you still want to make that payment? I did everything on my own, all while you got to keep the computers running. You got to keep paper in the printer. You got to make sure the office is clean. Y'all know I started my business from a corner desk in my mother's house. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it was her dining room table in my mother's house I started my business at, right? And then when I bought my first house, my business was literally a corner desk in the corner with all the paperwork and everything there. I had a laptop. I had a monitor. I had a printer on the side of the desk. And that was my business. And it grew to what it is now, to where we own a commercial property where we have a huge office on the first floor. So understand that you're going to be wearing all hats. I hear too many business owners saying, oh, I'm going to hire this person. I'm going to hire that person. Don't waste your time doing all of that. Grind as much as you can and do everything that you can do, because you need to understand all parts of your business, because that helps out when you go to hire someone. You know exactly what you need that person to do because you did it, right? Now, let's say, for instance, if you never did marketing for your business, and all of a sudden the marketing company's not working out. Now you got to find another marketing company. But had you learned how to do it yourself, you might not have needed that marketing company, right? So that's why I tell people, you want to make sure that you handle every part of your business yourself. You understand the staple runs. You understand the ink runs, right? You understand to make sure you got paper. You understand, make sure you got pens. Make sure you got paper clips. Make sure you got everything that you need to run your business. Make sure that printer actually works. Make sure that computer works. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're keeping people information safe. You know what I mean? All that stuff. You want to understand how all of that works. So later on in life, when you're running this big conglomerate and somebody in the accountant says, hey, we don't know how to do this, you can come down and say, hey, you do it this way. This, and this, because this is what I used to do when I was by myself. So number two is you're going to have to wear a bunch of different hats, right? Number three, and this kind of runs off number two. Remember, I told you to understand all parts of your business. So what you want to do is, as you grow, you want to put together systems, right? You want to automate things. You want to track things. You want to set up processes. And this is why. Anybody, you ever seen like a one person that runs a business? He knows where everything is. He knows how everything works. But if you ask him to explain something to you, he can't, because it's all up here. He don't have it written down. So you want to put systems in place, right? So you want to understand, you want to break up your process. Now, let's say, for instance, with us, with credit repair, right? Our process is this. I do the marketing, right? I'm responsible for the marketing. The clients reach out to me. I look over their credit report, let them know exactly what's going on, and boom, and I send them a link. Now this is part two of the process. They get the link, they click the link, they put in information, they make that payment, they get an email, because I automated all of this, right? And this cost me thousands of dollars to do, believe it or not. But I automated it where once they make their payment, the payment goes through, automatically they get an email sent to their email called the welcome email. And there's a link in that email. They hit that link. There's a DocuSign that opens up, application, contract, what's next rundown. Everything is in there. They fill all that stuff out. They hit enter and they hit send and it sends it back to me, right? I get a notification that they did everything they had to do. I got it here. Okay, cool. Once that happens, boom, I send it to the printer. It prints out. We take it, right? I bring it back to my office. Now, remember, it's all me, but what I did was I automated all these things so I don't have to do this anymore. Back in the day, you know what we used to do? People used to call. I used to talk to them over the phone. They would text me a credit report. I would look at it. I would text them or call them back. Then they say, hey, they ready. I would take their payment over the phone, or I send them an invoice. Once I get the invoice back, I'll call them. Hey, I'm going to send you an email. Please click the link when you get the email. They get the email. They do whatever they do. They send it back. I used to get the email back, and then I would go print it out myself. No, I'm lying. Never had DocuSign. What I had was I used to call people and take the information over the phone. So I would call and say, hey, what's your first name? What's your last name? What's your date of birth? So we used to do all of this stuff until I hired my sister, and she started doing that, where she was calling people over the phone and taking people's information, right? So, and then that caused all types of confusions because, of course, if somebody signed up for credit repair at 8 a.m. and you call them at 6 p.m. to take an application and they don't answer, then they call you back at 7:30, you're not available, and you call them back the next day. Sometimes it was 2-3 days before you finally got somebody on the phone to take the application. I knew that was a problem. I knew that it made sense, but I didn't know how to fix it. Did some research, found out about DocuSign, and that's how we corrected it. So now the system goes, once that happens, I take their paperwork, I work on it, I process everything, I set up their portal and all that stuff now, right? And then I walk over to my assistant, give her the file. She now takes the file, processes everything out, put everything into the server, put everything into the system, right? Then we send it over to another desk where my daughter, she comes in, she scans it and puts it onto the server. She updates whatever notes and everything so that way I can put this stuff in your portal when you call me back. So there's a whole system in place now. So now I could take a step back and the whole system could run, right? Now I could hire somebody for marketing. Hey, this is how I did the marketing. Boom, you run that, right? You run all the social medias, you run all the speaking engagements, and I'll show up. You do all of that. Boom. I can have somebody step in and, I already have my assistant that do that, right? I have my daughter that do the work where she processes she puts everything on the server, right? She does all that stuff. So I can have people in place now to do this stuff. So if I'm not in the office for a couple of days, the stuff's still moving, regardless if I'm there or not. You know what I'm saying? All that's going to happen is once they fill out that application and send it back to me, it's going to sit there for a couple of days until I get back. But by law, we got to wait 3 days before we process the paperwork anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of works out. So make sure as you're growing, you're putting systems in place, because as you grow, you're going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to do all this stuff by yourself, and you're going to have to start hiring people. You know what I'm saying? Then you're going to become a real boss because you're going to have employees. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to hire somebody to take your phone calls, schedule your appointments, schedule where you got to go, schedule your travel, schedule your hotels, whatever. You're going to have somebody to have to do that. I started with a personal assistant. My personal assistant turned into my office manager. You know what I'm saying? You might need somebody that's going to be able to market your company the way you want to market it. You might need somebody to run your social media. You want to do all these things so that way you understand how to do it. Put processes in place so somebody else can step in and run that process. Like, my mother came to me today and said, hey, we got an issue with this. I'm having an issue with the process because once we do this and this and this happens, and then the file ends up going here and I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, well, before you do this. And that way you don't have to worry about what happens to the file once it goes out. And she's like, okay, cool, I'm going to add that in it. So just keep that process in place so that way, now if my mother decides, hey, I can't come to work for 2 weeks, I can get somebody to sit them right in that seat. Process is all there. All they got to do is follow the process. Everything is already there. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for tuning in too. If y'all can hit that share button, let the people know we live. We're here every single Thursday to discuss a different credit-related topic. This is Credit Talk. Y'all see the name in the back. You know what I'm saying? What's another one? Number 4. That was number 3. Put together systems. Number 4 is going to be get ready for inconsistent incomes. Right? Now, a lot of people think that there's this stigma out here that once you become a business owner, all of a sudden you're rich. That's not how that go. You have to grind years to get to the point where you can consider yourself rich. And you consider yourself rich when you have a bunch of free time and the business is running itself. That's when you consider rich. You know what I'm saying? So people got to understand that you can starting a business is very hard, because especially when you're building from scratch, when you're not starting from nowhere, you got to build up everything. You got to build up that trust. You got to build up the integrity. And let's talk about integrity, right? So I have people that's been coming to me. A lot of people have been coming to me lately and saying, hey, do you do credit sweeps? Right? I don't do credit sweeps. Now, people might say, what is a credit sweep? A credit sweep is considered fraud, right? That's pretty much when you write a FTC report or whatever it is. You send them a report saying that you have identity theft, right? And what they end up doing is requesting that the credit bureau wipe everything off your credit reports. Now, you go from bad credit to no credit, right? And then what people turn around and do is they use trade lines to build their credit back up real quick and go get whatever they want. Here's the problem with that. That's fraud. Now, let me explain to you why it's fraud. When you get everything wiped off your credit report and you apply for new credit cards, you get that stuff based off your new credit report, not your old credit report. So you're defrauding the bank right there. Then when the stuff comes back on your credit report, right? They come back charged off in collections, or, the car will be repossessed, whatever. All this stuff comes back on your report. So your credit now is 10 times worse. And then depending on who the bank is, they can file a police, they can go to the feds and say, hey, this person did this, defrauded us out of this much money, and now we're at a loss. Okay, cool. They can come and knock on the door and say, yo, you did an FTC report and you say it was identity theft, but it came back that none of this stuff was identity theft. So did you do it? They're going to say, no, the credit man did it. I paid him $2,000 to do it. And they're going to come knocking on my door, and then they're going to have me on the news with my head down, with my handcuffs on, with my hand behind my back, telling myself I'm defrauded people out of millions. That's never going to be me. So I don't do none of that quick illegal stuff. I'm not your guy. So if you guys want somebody that does all that, quick illegal fraud, FTC report and all that stuff, we ain't doing that over here. So you got to go find somebody else that do that stuff. Because it ain't me. Let's see what we got. All right, cool. What else? So let's talk about it. So, what did we say? Oh yeah. So get ready for inconsistent income. Your income is going to go up and down, especially if you have a seasonal business. And when I say seasonal business, you might have a business that's popping over the summer, but it's dead over the winter. You might have a business that's popping over the winter and dead over the summer, right? You might have a business that's consistent throughout the year, but it's going to be ups and downs, right? For instance, my business is usually very consistent from January to June. After June, it kind of falls off a little bit because no one cares about their credit in the summertime, right? And then around September, when those kids get back to school and real life starts again, that's usually when it goes back up for a little bit. And then around November, it falls off again and is dead for December. And then January, New Year's resolutions, everybody want to start over. Everybody want to get a fresh start. Everybody want to fix their credit. Then it goes back up again. So that's one thing you want to do is you want to understand how your business runs, understand when you get a lot of money coming in, when you don't have no money coming in. So you know that when you get a lot of money coming in, you can save to get you across the point when you don't have any money coming in. So that way you can know how much to pay yourself comfortably. You know what I'm saying? You know it won't kill your business. Because the last thing you want to do is run out of money with your business where you can't pay your employees. Because the first person they pay is your employees, and you're the last person as the business owner to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So just get ready for inconsistent income, up and down. It might be up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 like that. But get ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Understand that money is not always going to be up here. Sometimes it's going to be down here. You're going to have to struggle a little bit until you get it back up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. And number 5, let's get into this. This is the important part. I get too many people that come to me and they start their business and they say, I had my business for 3 years. I had my business for 4 years, right? Had my business for 10 years and don't have no business credit. The minute you start your business, you should be looking into business credit. Now, what is business credit? Business credit is the same thing as personal credit, but only for your business. So imagine your business was a human being. That LLC is a person. You know what I'm saying? You want to build up a credit profile for that LLC, and you want to start that from day one. Because imagine you had your business for 5 years now, and you would have started business credit from year 1. Your credit profile would be 5 years old, and you'll be able to get things without your personal credit report. So start looking into your business credit ASAP. Y'all know we have a business credit program, 4 to 6 months. Most people walk away with anywhere between 10 to 15,000 in business credit. And we do not require social to build up your business credit. So check us out if you're interested in that. We charge $2,000 for the business credit program. You can check it out on our website, readfinancialsolutions.com. Just click on business credit and you'll see the whole rundown there. Now, this business credit program, of course, is all based on what type of business you have. Some businesses are easier to build than other businesses. You got to be prepared to put that work in to get that business credit profile where you want it at, right? But you can have the best business credit in the world, but I want my entrepreneurs to know, number 6 is going to be your personal credit still matters. Now, I know there was a time where everybody was trying to skip over their personal credit and just build business credit and go off of that. It doesn't work that way. A lot of the big banks, the Amexes, the Chase, a lot of these banks that you see people on social media advertise, when they advertise in their business credit program, they're showing you Amexes, they're showing you Chase, they're showing you all these business credit cards from these big banks. What they're not telling you is you have to put you have to co-sign with your personal credit. Now, what does that mean? Let's say, for instance, for Amex now, right? Let's say you want to get an Amex business card. You're going to go to Amex, and Amex is going to say, okay, what's your business information? You're going to put all your business information in there. Then they're going to say, okay, cool. We need you to a personal guarantor. So personal guarantor is the same thing on the business. It means on the business side what co-signing means on the personal side, right? So you're pretty much co-signing for yourself, saying, hey, if my business fails, I will pay this debt. So they're going to want you to put your personal credit in there. But guess what they're going to do? They're going to check your credit report. If your score is a 540, you're not getting that Amex business card. You're not getting that Chase business card. You're not getting that Black business card. You're not getting none of these cards unless your personal credit is up to par. So make sure your personal credit is where it needs to be. So I tell my business owners, When you're building business credit, you should be building your personal credit, especially if you want to grow your business. You're not going to be able to get no loans with bad credit. Now, here's the good side of the business credit though, right? Once you get those first couple cards and you buy that first car and put in your business name and you do everything you got to do and you pay off that car and you keep them cars good, next time you go to a dealership, you don't got to put your Social Security on there anymore. Let me tell you guys about my pickup truck. Y'all know I had an F-150, right? No, first I had a BMW i8. I bought for $125,000. I put in my business name, right? I ended up paying that car off, right? So that car is sitting on my business credit now. It's paid off. Then I went and bought a Ford F-150, a 2020 Ford F-150 Lariat, right? And that truck ended up getting totaled, right? And I went and bought a new one. When I went to a dealership, I gave my business information. They came back to me with an interest rate, with a plan and everything, right? And I ended up getting it. And another thing about that is when you don't have to co-sign for this stuff, it's not on your personal credit. So when you get Amex, it's not on your personal credit. You get Chase Business, it's not on your personal credit. You take out a loan on the business side, it's not on your personal credit. You don't want these things to go from your business to your personal credit because they can they can knock you down from doing certain things. Let's say, for instance, you want to buy a car, right? But you got that credit card that got a $25,000 limit that you maxed out because you had to buy something for your office, and now we dropped your credit from 750 to 640. You know what I'm saying? So now when you go to the bank and you trying to, you go to the car dealership and you want to get an auto loan, they're going to say, hey, we could have gave you 3.9, but now we got to give you 6.9 because of, your credit score is a 640. So you want to keep that stuff separate, just like we talked about earlier. Keep your business stuff separate and your personal stuff separate. And that's what makes business credit so great. So make sure you start building that business credit day one, and make sure you fix your personal credit day one. And if you need help with either your business credit or your personal credit, that's what we specialize in, getting you to that 700 club and showing you how to stay there. It's up to you to stay there, but we can get you there and show you how to stay there and building that business credit up. So that way you have two different credit profiles when it comes to getting money. When you need a loan, when you need a credit card, when you need a line of credit, whatever you need. When you want to rent a space, don't nobody want to be putting their personal credit stuff on a rental area for your business. Use your business credit. Hey, here's my business credit profile. I've been in business for 5 years. My score is a perfect 100. I got this car, that car. I paid this off, paid that off. Boom. Okay, cool. You can have the space. And that way you won't even need your personal credit to do it. You see what I'm saying? But if you guys need help with your business credit, personal credit, check us out. If you got any questions, go ahead and ask.